Well, some of the most successful authors in the U.S. say that a Utah man was pivotal in their success.
And now some big publishers are actually asking him what's going to be the next big thing. Debbie Worthen here tonight with more on who this person is. Debbie?
Well, Mark and Shauna, in the literary world, he's sometimes called the Godfather. In reality, his name is David Farland. He's a best-selling author in his own right, but to some mega successful writers here in Utah, he's much more.
I'm selling millions, and I can point that right to Dave.
He understands storytelling and writing on a freaky level.
His head's been in the game his whole life. I'm David Farland. I'm a science fiction and fantasy writer.
David Farland won't tell you how amazing he is, but the writers he mentors say he's the one to know.
All of us, we all feel like we owe a huge debt to him.
James Dashner has come a long way since he first met Farland.
I first came across Dave about 10 years ago when I started attending all the nerd conventions in Utah.
Since then,
we're pushing about 4 million. That's just in the U.S.
And that's not all. The Maze Runner, the first in one of Dashner's book series, comes out on the big screen this September. The series is a young adult dystopian setting, and 20th Century Fox loves it.
To have a movie based on a book I wrote and to be so involved with it, it's impossible to describe.
Brandon Sanderson now teaches the class he once took from Farland at Brigham Young University. His latest book in his Words of Radiance series debuted at #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. The class was life-altering.
I took that class, and it was mind-blowing. Here was somebody who was making a living at their writing. I had never had a class from a teacher who had actually made a living at their writing before.
And not all of what he learned was about writing.
There was one point in the class where I went to him and I said, "What do I do?" And he said, "Well, have you finished any books?" And I said, "I have just finished my 6th.
And I said, "Well, you're going to go to the World Fantasy Convention."
Dave says, "You've got to drop $500 and go to this convention and meet these editors."
And I said, "What's your limit on your credit card?"
I had to go nervously to New York City for the first time, walk into this convention. It was absolutely terrifying.
It was also his first big break.
The last time the publisher counted, it was somewhere around 10 million, I think.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for showing up.
Now to Brandon Mull, author of Fablehaven, fantasy book series for kids.
Fablehaven sold in the millions. I don't know exactly how many it sold, but it was the series that let me quit my day job.
Mull met Farland long before that success.
I asked him if he would look at my work, and he was kind enough to get involved. He just knows a lot, and he's really willing to share.
While Farland says he can recognize great talent early,
I can tell. Sometimes I don't even have to read their work. I can tell by the way they express themselves.
he won't take the praise for other writers.
It's not that I can take much credit for it. They're the ones who have to do all the work.
That doesn't mean he's not proud to know them. In fact, he worked with Twilight author Stephenie Meyer after her time at Brigham Young University.
It's sort of the proud papa syndrome. Every time I see, a Stephenie Meyer or something like that, I go, there's one of mine.
And the feelings are mutual.
He's just very, very well loved and respected in the Utah community, and not just here, but worldwide.
He has done more from this community of science fiction and fantasy writers than anyone else I know. Dave is not only a fantastic writer, he is a fantastic person.
Well, Farland has written and sold lots of books of his own, too. Right now, he's finishing the last novel in his best-selling series, The Runalords. He's hoping to see that debut at #1, and he's also busy teaching writing courses. He said that's on his bucket list. He's never debuted at #1 on the New York Times list, although he's been top 5.
Really?
So is it just like he knows the content that's going to sell and make something a bestseller when he reads it?
It's interesting. There's a lot more to it than just writing a book. It's marketing and managing a business and being charismatic and getting out of the public. There's so much more involved than I ever knew.
Well, so I have this idea. Should I